Yeah, that's why I don't work from home, is because I'm afraid that I won't be able to separate work and home.
Hmm.
And that's like a big fear I have. And I know it's also a limiting belief. I totally get that. But until like I feel like I have the knowledge or the systems in place that would allow me to separate work and home in the same environment, I'm just going to avoid putting myself in that place where I feel like I would fall short.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't know. I don't think it's a limiting belief. I think it's legitimate. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when I was in the military, like, I purposely lived off base all the time, other than when we lived in Japan, and I didn't have a choice but to live on base. Because I've never felt like I left work. Like, I'm still
Right.
on the base. I'm still sitting here. And then when I was in Japan, all of the all of the decision makers for anything that, so I was a criminal investigator, counterintelligence agent, and whatnot for a long time, and I was one of the leadership team over there, and right next door was the lead JAG. The other side was the lead cop, the base police guys, and then right across the street was the wing commander. So like there literally was no going home. So now that no leaving. So now that I'm in my own home office, I'm struggling with the same thing. So I'll say that it's probably not a limiting belief because it's legitimate. Because now every time I walk by, I look at my office and I'm like, oh well, I can see all the things I need to do sitting in there. Even if it's just mentally seeing all the things I need to do. But
So
I will
true.
say though that the ability to just look out there and see my son working on his homeschool stuff right now, to watch the kids play from my office
Yeah.
is unbelievably awesome. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure I would trade that for the world. And of course, I'm coming from a very different spot than where you are. But man, it's such a blessing to be able to sit here and stare at my kids. But,
Totally, man. Totally.
so the business side of the house, you might, well, I know some of this stuff, so I'm going to ask you some of the other stuff that I don't know. What businesses are you operating yourself now that are all solely yours? That you've started yourself.
Yeah, right now it's mostly like a management company and an investment company. The management company is kind of what oversees and operates a couple of the businesses that I run. So rather than paying myself from the opportunities I receive, I have those opportunities pay my business, and that in turn then pays the people that help support me and help run my life. And through that management company, we're overseeing and operating a couple companies, and then we're also doing some like sort of like inner circle work, some like group think kind of concepts for people sort of on the aspiring side of the journey and still looking to try to get some knowledge and get out of their own way and get to where they're trying to go. And then the investment side is I have a company that's set up just to make investments. So like I look at investing like a business. I think a lot of people that I know do that. And when you look at it from a business perspective, I think it gives you a different lens when you're making a decision, because you're like, I got to manage the P&L, I got to manage the cash flows, I got to manage the humans that go along with this. So like it's a business to me. Making investments is a business to me. We're actively looking to try to buy some service-based businesses in Austin and in and around Austin, landscaping, septic, kind of you name it. But the thing I'll tell you is like sellers haven't really capitulated. They think their stuff is still worth what it was in 21, maybe early 22. And you're like, dude, your revenue's down 40%. And they're like, yeah, but it was. I'm like, yeah, but I can't buy was. I'm buying is. Like, what is it today?
Yeah.
So kind of waiting for people to feel a little bit more pain, sitting on my hands, trying to be patient, which is really, really hard for me. But just trying to be patient and let opportunity come to me rather than feel like I have to chase and go get it.
I love to hear you say that because it makes me feel a little better, because I've been, I was in the, like when I was buying multifamily for a while, it was like, you guys are selling on the future of what you hope everything is going to be instead of where it actually is. And now they're selling on what it was instead of what it is. And it's like, well, so at some point you have to be realistic in what you're selling. Like you can't just like, and so I'm realistic in what I'm buying. So that means a lot of sitting on my hands. I haven't bought anything in like a year and a half, which drives me absolutely bonkers. But at the same point, it's like, well, I mean, I'll keep underwriting, I'll keep looking and hope for the best. But
yeah, that's the trick, Adam. Stay in the game. You don't want to get out of the game. You stay in the game. You keep underwriting. You don't get defeated. It's frustrating when you don't get defeated. And there will be an opportunity or an inning, if we're thinking about this as a baseball game, there will be an inning where you get your at bats and all of a sudden you start making cracks. And the next thing you know, you hit a single, a double, a home run, and you put 4, 5, 6 on the board in one inning. So you just got to be patient. You got to keep sticking to your plan, stick to the vision you have for your life, stick to the core values you have for your life. And, don't get caught in FOMO. FOMO is not an investment thesis. Like fear of missing out is not a reason to make decisions. So the best thing that can happen is I say no to a deal because I was uncomfortable. And, if that deal kills it for somebody else, by all means, awesome, like more to them. Right. But the last thing I want is to say yes to a deal that I didn't feel comfortable with and then get caught, with a nasty situation on my hands.
Yeah, that's super true. Somebody I heard recently, I don't remember who it was. I wish I could give credit to whoever it was, but they talked about I don't get to create the market. I just have to live in it. I just have to work in it and work around whatever's going on. So one of the things I've been trying to do is adjust to like service-based industry, business type stuff. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about buying those. Ever since I saw Cody Sanchez at one of the GoBundance events years ago, I was like, dude, I totally need to do this. But I was so focused on apartments, I didn't. So is that something that's been a recent pivot of yours, looking at service-based industries? Is that something that you've always been kind of interested in, or how did that kind of work? And is that where you see a better opportunity now than any of the other investments you've been looking at?
Yeah, I've always been super fascinated by it. Again, like I've always believed that service is the Trojan horse to knowledge. And I'd take that even further to say it's the Trojan horse to whatever you want. And so I look at it the same with a consumer, right? Like if I can cut your grass better than anybody can cut your grass, when I want to clean your house, I can clean your house better than anybody wants. When I can clean your pool better than anybody, like, so it's just like this. I just see that providing service for people is something people will continue to pay for. And I don't think that, AI is close enough yet to cutting grass and doing that stuff for you, or cleaning your pool and mixing the chemicals yet. I mean, I'm sure someday somebody's going to try to create something and it'll probably work. But in the meantime, what I like is boring cash flowing businesses that, China can't come in and take away from me. Robots can't come in and take away from me, but that actually like make people's lives better. Like provide them a service that actually makes their life a little bit better. I mean, a guy came over yesterday and cut the grass for us. Like he made our life better because our life was really full, really busy. And, how lucky are we to be able to afford to pay for him to cut the grass? And how lucky is he to be able to find us to pay him to cut the grass? So like, I like to find relationships like that. And that's what the service-based business is for me. Better opportunity than anything else. I think there will be a great opportunity for everything potentially in the near future. I still don't think in the service-based business you're seeing quite a great opportunity. I still don't think in multifamily you're seeing quite a great opportunity, but I do think we're very close to both of them being a great opportunity.
That's awesome to hear. That's because I hope that you are accurate, because I've been waiting for that opportunity to rise back up again. So it's been killing me over the last couple of years. But man, oh man. So do you have any desire to involve your kids later on in life beyond just hey, I can make them an employee and pay them $12,000 a year and put it into their IRA or whatever, to actually involve them in the business? I know you've mentioned opening up the horizon so they can kind of choose what they want, but also a lot about business and a lot of where it can go. So opening that horizon to them. What are your thoughts on the exposure to business operations to your kids?
I'll absolutely open the door. If they choose to walk through it, amazing. If they don't, amazing. Like I will open whatever door they ask me to open, and I will be there to cheer them on and support them in walking through whatever they choose to walk through. I'll definitely expose them to things, but then it will ultimately be their choice as to what they want. Look, I think there are schools that can help your kids become entrepreneurs. Look, I think there are programs that can help build entrepreneurship in kids, but you became an entrepreneur not because of the school you went into, but because of who you are as a human and how you're wired. And I think it's my job as a parent to figure out who my kids are and how are they wired, and then put them in a place where their passion and their purpose are aligned to let them achieve whatever level of success they choose to achieve, and however they define success, right? Maybe it's the amount of days worked, maybe it's the amount of days off, maybe it's the amount of money made, maybe it's the amount of money donated. I don't have any sort of marriage to whatever they do. My only goal is to find their purpose, their passion, and ultimately let that fuel whatever they decide to do.
That's all. I mean, I can't say how much I agree with that enough. But hey, my son, of course, this is one thing I forgot to warn you about before we started, is I can almost guarantee at every podcast my son is going to walk in because he loves to come and say hello.
Well, what would be cool is if you had him ask a question. What question does he have?
Do you want to take a headphone like you always do? And then he wants to know what questions you have for him. This is Mr. Matt. He is, all those trips I go on with that company or that business, that group called GoBundance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's the one who runs the company now. Do you have any questions for him? He's got 2 kids. You don't know? No. No questions at all? No. He lives in Texas. He runs multiple businesses. He's super smart. He's super down to earth. You can ask him whatever you want.